Welcome to the Lunch Pail Half-Hour, where we do the dirty work. Our favorite tool is a shovel. We dig the ditches, whatever it takes, blue collar. But we're talking about I'm talking about extreme endurance, blue collar. Woo woo. So today I think our subject is law of attraction. Our subject is law of attraction. And I think I was going to start out and just say, what is law of attraction? To me, law of attraction is where you get your energy, you get your vibration up to where you are vibrating high, and that's when you start attracting what you're visualizing and going after, So for me, my saying that I say a lot is, if you keep putting good stuff in your brain, eventually good stuff starts coming out. And that is law of attraction. That's why I got this wall behind here, my vision wall, because it's all like law of attraction type stuff. I'm trying to keep my energy up high. And then when you think about your goals and your dreams, you're gonna start attracting those to you. So that's what, your energy, your high energy, your vibration being high starts attracting, and you start seeing your goal, what you're going after. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't want to get all scientific with you, but it's very scientific nowadays. But it literally is like, you got to try and hold your attraction. You got to hold very positive attitude. If you got a positive attitude in life, that's when you start thinking about your goals, your dreams, what you want. That's when those things start becoming, either being attracted to you, or you see them. You see them out there. You're able to see, like, sometimes they're just right in front of you, and you can see them. Let's see. What is the law of attraction in the simplest terms? I think the law of attraction is, if you got a goal or a dream, if you want something, a lot of people want materialistic things and stuff. You do a dream board or a dream wall, and you keep looking at, some car you want, some house, and you look, say the car, and then you feel what the car, how it drives. You feel like you're looking at it. The more real you can make it feel to yourself, the more you're going to be able to attract that to you, and opportunities, either buy that car, somehow get a hold of that car, get enough money to buy that car. These opportunities are going to come up to you if you just keep focusing on that car, And so for me, it's like this wall, which goes all the way down, I mean, I'm a big dreamer, big law of attraction guy. And the key is, like I said, you got to be feeling good, though. If you're not feeling good about life, if you're down in the toilet, if all you're doing is complaining about everything, you're not going to attract anything. You have to be up here. You have to feel really good. And the more you feel good about yourself and your life, the better your odds are that you're going to be attracting, positive vibrate. You're going to send those positive vibrations out there, and other positive things are going to come your way, with the vibrations that you're sending out. Let's see what else I got here. In the simplest terms, man, I think the simplest terms, what is law of attraction? If you think of it, if you can feel it, if you can, the more real it is to you, visualize it, and the more you do it and the more you feel it, the more your odds are going to go off that you're going to attract it, because you eventually are going to attract it if you stay on that type of thing. The problem is, like what happens with me is, you're up here, you feel good, and then if you go down here, if you get depressed, if you get negative, all of a sudden that shuts off. You're not attracting anything. So you have to, if you're going to go down here, you got to come back up. If you're going to have mood swings and go down and be negative and depressed or whatever, you got to snap out of that as soon as possible, because that's how you're going to attract. That's how law of attraction works. You have to be in a really good state in order to get that good stuff coming your way. Woo woo. You ever notice how, like, if you're rolling in life, it just keeps going? Like, you feel like you get some good stuff going and it just keeps going. You're like, wow, that was great. A win over here, another win over there, another win over here. That's law of attraction, because you're vibrating high. So you're attracting high vibrating things to you, which are all positive. But it's the opposite too. If you're vibrating low and you're negative and all you do is complain, you never see the opportunities. You don't even see them. You can't see them. You're blind to them, because you're too negative and they're vibrating up here. So to see the opportunities in life, law of attraction, you got to be vibrating up here. And the more you're up there, the better. I think the people who are really, really successful are vibrating up there a lot. They're up here a lot. Let's see what else we got for another question. Yeah, can someone start using it to go after a big dream? Absolutely, absolutely. I will tell you, when I first started using law of attraction and goals and dreams was when before I did my first video in stores, and I would read my which law of attraction. I think reading your goals is the same type of thing. You're reading your goals and you try to feel like you already have your goal that you have. You know what I mean? You try and feel like you got it. Like I would feel like I had my video, the first video store I did, and feel myself opening the door and walking in there and looking around, and you know what I mean? The more you can feel it, the more you can see it, the more you're going to attract it, So yeah, that's why I got this whole wall, is because of that. I know Arnold Schwarzenegger was big. He put, like, on his wall, he put all the world-class bodybuilders back in the day on his wall, and that's where I got the idea from. This originally was from Arnold, because he had goals that he wanted to be a world-class bodybuilder, a championship bodybuilder. Then he wanted to be a movie star, and he did his goals. He did his law of attraction. He saw it. Opportunities kept coming up for him, like to travel to America. It was like he just wasn't going to be stopped, and he had these goals. And then he gets law of attraction. When they see how determined you are, the universe starts sending you opportunities. But if you got to be vibrating high to see those opportunities, and attract them. So, and that's why Arnold was able to, he's very goal oriented, and he was able to get everything he was shooting for back then, the world championships, the movie star, the Terminator, baby. Woo, woo, what a movie that was, the Terminator. Okay, let's see another question here. Is visualize enough, or do you also need to take action? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, you got to I believe you take action. I think the universe shows you, kind of gives you like a direction to go, and then you got to be aggressive and go after it. Maybe if you're really, really strong, visualizing and feeling and going after your goal, that, your goal knocks on your door, I'm here. But that's never been the case for me. I've had to work my ass off. You do it. It's just it shows you which way to go, and then it starts going. And it's like when I've needed to, I don't know. It's just like when I need when I'm really rolling, and I'm trying to meet somebody who I could really use, their help, their expertise in this. They just start showing up, If you're vibrating high and your goal is to do something, some big goal or dream, and then people will start showing up in your life who can help you because you're vibrating high. If you're vibrating low, nobody comes up to a complainer and goes, "Hey man, can I help you get your dream?" It doesn't happen. And I've been through periods where I was low and complained, and all you attract is other complainers. That's it. If you're a complainer, you want law of attraction, man. You got to vibrate high, be positive, see your goal, feel your goal. You know what I mean? The more you can feel it, see it, interact with it, through visualization, the more you're going to the more you're going to attract that energy, and your odds go up of attracting that goal. Let's see here. Yeah, the best way to stay positive. You know what I mean? Yeah, because I don't know. Like I said, I know it works. You know what I mean? I know it works because it's worked for me in the past. But I've also had periods where it slows down. But normally though, and I can't seem to get a break no matter what, right? It feels like that sometimes. And that's because you're vibrating low. You know what I mean? You got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Once you start that cycle downward, like when in the video chain, in the video stores, positive, positive, positive all the time. And we just kept going up. Our volume went up, the amount of stores we went up, everything went up. And then I started getting nervous about the industry, like, is the industry going to go out? There's a lot of negative stuff out there. I went, now I had a decent amount of money, and I'm trying to just keep what I got and not attacking anymore or doing anything. And I got scared. And then what happens then? You lose everything. The whole industry goes right down the toilet like you were afraid, and you go right down with it. You know what I mean? It's like if I could have kept high vibrating, I would have saw other opportunities at that time. Maybe I would have had to get out of I would have had to get out of the video industry, but I would have got into something else. Like my one friend started Netflix, so he didn't. The rest of us all went down the toilet that were in the video business, but he started Netflix. So, or he didn't start it, but he was one of the partners in the very beginning and consultant for it. And so he got in. He didn't just go right down with the video chains. So anyway, our video stores. But anyway, so yeah, that was one example where I went down. But when I was going up, it was weird. Like I was trying to get a loan, right, for my first video store. And no, I walked into the bank here. I'm a 23-year-old kid. I owned one house. I was still already kind of successful a little bit. And I borrowed against that. So that was half the money. It was like a 50,000 was for the first video store. And so I had 25 that I could take off the house. Then I needed to get another 25, right? So I'm asking people. I went into like 3 banks, and they're like, well, we need collateral. And I go, well, I'm using my collateral already. And so I couldn't get collateral. And on the third bank, the guy stood me up. I go, he just he wasn't there. He went to lunch or something. I go, no, you don't understand. I'm supposed to be here to get a loan. But I had so much passion. I wasn't going to let that stuff stop me, that nobody would lend me money. And then at the time, my ex-wife's friend she worked with told her that Bill should talk to my husband, that he, at the time, he did loans in a dealership, the car dealership. So, and they were known for like really pushing the envelope to get loans done back then. And so I said, oh, he sounds great. He sounds great. Like I need to talk to him. And so I went and talked to him, and he goes, Bill, this is what you do, man. Nobody's going to lend you money. You're already you got half the store from taking a second on your house. There's nothing else you got for collateral. Nobody's going to lend you money. But this is what you need to do. You go to downtown San Francisco, you walk in every bank, and you pull out a credit card application. You fill them all out, and you mail them all in at one time. And that's what we did. We mailed all those credit cards in. I probably had like 40 or 50 of them. I don't know, maybe 30. And I got like 15 credit cards back, and I charged the second half of the store. But that was all law of attraction, putting it out there. that I had passion and I wanted to get a loan and I wanted to get this store open. I was going to get this store open no matter what. You know, in the past, if you've ever had that feeling that this is going to happen no matter what, you know what happens? It freaking happens. Woo woo! Because you're not going to quit. It's just going to happen, you know? And even that, you'll have your ups and downs. But if you have more ups, you'll eventually get to that goal, you know? You'll get to it because you're vibrating high more than you're vibrating low. And so you're eventually going to attract that goal. Anybody else got a question out there about law of attraction from an amateur guy like me, but who's used it for a long time? I've really always believed in it. At what interest rate? Lionel Clouds asked what interest rate I had. You could not, I don't think you could do what I did back then, where I had, you know, I sent out 30 credit card applications and got 15 back. I only had one credit card at the time. I got 15 back. Now I think you'd have to figure out something else. But yeah, I think the interest rate was, I don't know, it's probably like nowadays, like 20%, something outrageous. But it was all going to be short term. I paid them off after like a year and a half or 2 years or something. I mean, I paid them all the way off because, you know, I was using them to do this business. It was like a business loan for me. But yeah, I was only thinking like, just get this store going, whatever it takes, and I'll pay off those credit cards. It's just a short-term loan. And I knew I could cash flow enough to make the credit card payments, and that's what I did. What do you do when doubt or negative thoughts creep in? That's interesting because, yeah, I was watching a video, and this is even just right now, but it was like, you know, like if you wake up and you got negative thoughts in the morning, you know, a lot of times those will carry around, like you got a bad night's sleep, whatever, something bad happened the day before. Maybe you didn't get enough sleep. And so the negative thoughts start coming in. And what this lady said was you got to think what happened yesterday that was positive. What was positive yesterday? What were the things that were positive? And so you start focusing your mind instead of like having this negative thing. You're literally like training your brain to think positive thoughts. And I've been working on that. You know, that's what all this is. This is all training my brain to think positive thoughts. But, you know, there's always more tools that come up that can help you, you know. And so every time I hear something new, it's like, hey, I like that. I'm going to try that too. You know, I throw everything at it, man. When I got something going on, I'm throwing everything at it, man, to try and make it happen. So that's, yeah, so if you got, yeah, so that, what was that question again? The negative thoughts. Yeah, so I start thinking, it's a mental exercise. So if you're waking up in the morning or in the middle of the night and all you're doing is negative, thinking about all the, you know, negative stuff going on in your life or what potentially could happen that's negative. I've done all this. You got to so what her strategy was, you start thinking, okay, what's going great in my life? You know, you're also doing your gratitude. I'm doing a gratitude list too, but this is strictly like what's going great right now so that you can break that cycle in your brain of thinking of negative things to worry about, which as soon as you start worrying about anything, law of attraction goes right down the toilet. Woo woo! Law of attraction does not follow worry. It follows positivity. Woo woo! And a big belief that you're going to get it. Woo woo! That's what you got to do. Stay positive, believe you're going to get it, and you eventually will get it. That's what law of attraction is about, man. So yeah, I think that's that exercise that she said. So if I got the demons going on, thinking bad thoughts, I'm going like, okay, what was great that went on yesterday? You know, and just you're trying to specifically get your brain trained. You're training your brain like you would train a dog. My dog is untrainable, kind of, but he's cute. But anyway, you're training a dog. You're training your brain to think positive thoughts. So when negative things come up, you're immediately going to go right to shut it out and go right to a positive thing. I think what she does in the morning is she'll listen to some, like me, I do that. First thing I get up, I have a cup of coffee and I do cold coffee, but it's kind of the same thing. And I look at my wall and I'll play like motivational videos, motivational clips. So she's putting music on. She's putting music on and soothing. She calls it soothing music. That just it calms her down and gets to where she can start thinking about what positive things went on the day before. And she does it every day, and she's been doing it for like I think years. And so what she finds is that her vibration has slowly risen to where it keeps going up and up and up. And then all you're doing, instead of thinking of negative things and things to worry about, you're thinking about positive things that you're doing really good at in life. And that's what I'm encouraging you to do. If you want law of attraction, you gotta think positive. You gotta think positive. You gotta believe that this is gonna happen for you. The other thing is, like, make sure you get yourself straight that you feel like you deserve it, because if you get where you don't think you deserve it, that's where you don't attract either. So you have to tell yourself over and over again that, I deserve this. I deserve this. I put the work in. I deserve this. You know what I mean? And you got to get that feeling in there. And I've had to work at that. I've definitely had to work at that. I deserve to have really big things when I got big goals and dreams, to think that I'm going to get them. It's like you got to keep telling yourself, hey, I put the work in, I deserve it, I deserve it, I deserve it, And then because that really is important too. You gotta, if you don't think you're worthy of whatever your big goal or dream is, you're not getting it either. There's all these catches. All these catches. That's why everybody doesn't have their big goals and dreams, It's the people who are freaking aren't going to be stopped. They're like the Terminator. Nothing's going to stop them. Those are the ones who get their big goals and dreams. You got to just keep fighting and fight and fight and fight, and just keep keeping that brain positive. Like you can't let it go into autopilot where it's negative. You just can't let it all of a sudden just think all these depressing thoughts. You got to put a stop to it. Couple things I do to put a stop to it: cold water. Cold water will do it, man. If I go jump in a cold shower, if I go jump in the bay, if I jump in our pool in the winter when it's really cold, that stops negative thoughts. How about like a sauna? Sauna definitely, anything extreme stops negative thoughts. Go out for a run. I just went for a run. Do you think I was thinking anything negative? Hell no, I wasn't. I was thinking, man, I'm getting faster. I'm getting faster. I'm going to get that 6-minute mile. I'm not anywhere close there yet, but I'm going to get it because I'm thinking positive thoughts, law of attraction, 6-minute mile. Woo, woo. Haven't had one of those in like a while, but I got law of attraction and I'm thinking positive. And so I'm optimistic that I'm going to get a 6-minute mile. All right, let's see what else we got here for questions. Anybody else got any questions they want to? At what interest rate, man? 20%, whatever it took to get that store open. And a broken leg. No. What's one daily habit people can use to attract their goals faster? I think, like I said, I used to read, before I did this wall, I would just write my goals out on a sheet of paper, but I would also make sure my goals aligned with my values, right? You don't want to just get some materialistic thing that means nothing to you, because that's not going to go. So a lot of my values are around helping people, motivating people, inspiring people. That type of stuff is like really heavy on my goals, and so those goals line, like if I'm going to do, speaking in front of a crowd or doing these videos right now to inspire people, that's huge. That lines up with my values. So for me to get a bigger and bigger audience all the time, I'm going the right direction. It's a positive direction for me because it's what I want to do. Now, if you are doing something, that doesn't agree with your values. I remember at one time I put down, like, I wanted to own a high rise. I was really like really into money stuff back then when I was, a young adult. I'm still young, kind of 30. Woo woo. Law of attraction. I'm 30. Woo woo. And but and so, and it didn't make sense. I go, yeah, I want to own a high rise. And I didn't care about that at all. It didn't, what I wanted to do was go out and do these races like what I do now. And I wanted to have a team to go out there so I had camaraderie and have people to train with so I have camaraderie. Because I'm a big people guy. I like having people around me and stuff, And so that's like huge for me. And so that's what so that's the type of energy that I put out. It was more like doing things, not buying things. I mean, not that if I had some mad money, I wouldn't mind having a better, better car or a bigger apartment with a second bedroom to store all my freaking workout stuff. But other than that, I'm pretty damn happy. I'm pretty damn happy with where I'm at. But anyway, yeah, so I think it's got to align your goals, have to align with your values. And I remember how I did this exercise. It was like I wrote out all my goals, and then I put them, and then I wrote out my values like in order, like what they were, whether it's honesty and freedom and, I probably put down 10 to 15 values, and then you line those up against your goals, and you make sure that your goals are valuable to you, because those are the ones you're going to get if it's valuable to you. If it's not valuable, you're never going to get them, So anyway, yeah. So I think like just live and breathe that goal as best you can, and that's how you're going to attract. That's how you're going to get law of attraction, because you're going to live and breathe that goal all you can. Like right now, I'm visualizing, and when I'm swimming, that when I'm going for the English Channel, that I'm gonna get to shore, feel those last strokes, hit the bottom, because a lot of times I hit the bottom with my hand first, and then crawl. I'll be crawling out. I'm sure I'm not gonna walk out. I'll crawl out, and then I'll try to stand up, and then I'll go woo woo. But I try to feel that. So that's how I'm going to get my law of attraction, because I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. And that's what I want you to do. Start feeling what your goals and dreams are. And that's how you're going to get out there and get them. You're going to have, you could tell I'm obsessed, man. I really like to really attract your goals and dreams. You need to be obsessed with them. And that's what I am. That's why I have this big giant wall, because I'm obsessed. All right. Well, anyway, you guys are great. And have a great weekend, and I'll see you Tuesday for another live stream. Woo woo! Wait, let me remind you what time. The lunch pail half-hour. Woo woo! Where we do the dirty work. We're in the ditch digging. Our favorite tool is a shovel. Woo woo! Talk to you next week. Bye.